Welcome to Wealth Begins at Home. I'm so glad you're here. Let's just jump right into it. So, today we are talking about how to build wealth when you can barely buy bread. Hey, fam. Again, welcome to Wealth Begins at Home. Let's just be real. It's hard to think about building wealth when you're staring at gas prices and grocery bills, wondering how is this math even mathing? Right? I think we can all relate these days. You hear people talking about investing, multiple streams, assets over liabilities, and you're like, baby, I'm just trying to figure out how to make a pack of chicken last all week. But what if I told you that wealth doesn't start in your wallet, it starts in your mindset? And even if all you've got right now is grit, wisdom, and faith, even if it's a little bit of faith, a mustard seed of faith, that's more than enough to start building. So, regardless of how much money you have today, all you need is grit, wisdom, and a mustard seed of faith, and you can begin. So, let's throw away the idea that wealth is just about money. Okay, true wealth is time freedom. True wealth is peace in your household, legacy in motion, purpose, purposeful living, a purpose driven life. Wealth is health that money cannot buy. And yes, of course, financial overflow, right? Financial overflow is nice, but I want you to go a little further with when it comes to your finances, because wealth is not just financial overflow for you, but for the generations coming after you. See, when you redefine wealth this way, it's no longer out of reach. Now, I'm going to use a term that I tell you guys not to use, and I don't like to use it, but let me just use it for the purpose of this sentence, and then we won't use it anymore. You might be broke, but you're not broken. All right? You're not broken. Money does not define you, money does not determine your wealth. All right? So you might be broke, but you're not broken. And you're not broke either. Okay? We're not going to speak that. But anyway, you're not behind. You're just in seed time. There's always seed time, and then there's a harvest. Seed time is, it requires patience, it requires diligence, it requires consistency. So you're not behind, you're in seed time. And baby, seed time still counts. Okay? Now we've been taught that wealth is for them. Wealth is for other people, right? That struggle is just our default. That if we're not balling, we're failing. There's kind of no in between, right? It's either one or the other. But let me just take you back for a second, and I want you to just think about our ancestors. They made miracles out of crumbs. Like they did the unthinkable, they did the unimaginable. They owned land, they ran businesses, they built communities, even under the greatest oppression. They were able to still accomplish these things, some of them while still in chains or barely out of them, right? So no, just because you're in a tight season, it does not mean that you can't build. In fact, some of the most powerful financial moves I've ever made were in those tight seasons, were in my seed seasons, right? So during those times, you learn to track every dollar. You learn to cut what doesn't grow you, right? You learn your needs and wants real quick. You make purpose-led decisions, not emotional ones. And it's also a great opportunity to teach your kids what you were never taught, and to teach them, the difference between needs and wants, to teach them how to budget, to teach them how to plant seeds and how to be patient in those times. That's wealth. That's real wealth. And it starts right there with the bread you do have. All right, so let's get practical. Let's talk about this first brick, okay? And how we're going to start laying that first brick in our wealth foundation. And we can start today. Okay, even if you're barely scraping by, You can start today. And I want you to tell yourself that because it's true. All right, so I'm going to tell you the 5 things that you can do today in order to start laying your wealth foundation. Now, unfortunately, I do not have any of these, any kind of screens up. So if you just want to take a second to get either your notes app or pen and paper, just jot these things down. Of course, it's YouTube. You can always replay it. But yeah, I'll give you a second. Okay, and we're going to just get right into it. So these are the 5 bricks, I'll call them, to start laying your wealth foundation today. Okay, the first thing is to know your numbers. You have to know your numbers, not to shame yourself, not to um, come down on yourself, not to judge yourself, but to take your power back. Awareness is wealth. You must be aware in order to even start this journey. Okay, so you have to be aware. You can't be intimidated. You can't avoid it. You have to know your numbers. All right. Now, just keep in mind, these may be things that you've never done. These may be things that you dread doing. Sometimes we don't want to know the numbers. We just want to try to make it work, you know. But we're doing something different. We're building wealth. So we have to know our numbers, okay? We have to do all 5 of these steps. So, the number 2, the second step is to start a budget. Start a bread budget. Start a very small budget. Okay. Um, Literally write down your income and then write down what's eating it up. Okay. So any money you have coming in, I want you to write it down. Any money that's going out that you're spending, whether it's on new tires, whether it's on bills, whether it's on a cup of coffee, whether it's on shoestrings, it doesn't matter. Whatever's going out, write it down. Okay, this is your blueprint. This is going to give you a clear view of what exactly your numbers are, how much is coming in, how much is going out, and you'll be able to analyze where you can cut what you're doing. Sometimes, especially nowadays, I remember the days when we had cash, had dollars and coins, right? So it was easy to realize when you were getting low on cash. But when you have a debit card or when you're paying for things digitally, it slips by, faster. I just kind of swipe in, and most of us try to keep up with that number, but sometimes, honey, you way off. So it's real important to write it down. Okay. Number 3, the third thing we're going to do is to create a tiny overflow fund. $5 a week may not feel like much, but consistency builds confidence, and confidence builds wealth. So it's not about how much you're putting away, it's about the consistency. All right. So if $5 feels like too much, just put $2 or $3. The key is not, it's not, like I said, it's not about how much, it's about the consistency. So whatever number you come up with, at least do that as a minimum. Be consistent, and trust me, it will add up. The fourth thing we're going to do is speak differently about money. So there's power in your words, right? Power in your words. No more saying I'm broke. Now, I know we just said it. Like I said, that was for the purpose of our of that one sentence, but we're done with those for now, right? We're done with those from now on. So no more I'm broke. Instead, say I'm building. I'm building, because you are. You are. You can also say this affirmation: provision is already assigned to me. And it is. God provides. He provides. It's already assigned. It's already done. Okay, so remember that. Write that down. Provision is already assigned to me. So no matter what you're going through, no matter what is happening around you, believe those words. Words shape wealth too. All right, the fifth thing is include your family in the conversation. This is so important. Wealth built in isolation rarely lasts. Wealth built in community, that's legacy. That's legacy. I cannot express enough to you how much um, children learn from watching you, from you involving them. So involve them in all of these steps. So those are the 5 steps that you can